So tonight in Easy Watercolour Landscape Tutorial 2, we're just going to be looking at a technique that involves using a hake brush and some strong pigment and just doing a very quick simple sketch and then laying in the colour and then using a spray bottle. So it's a very interesting and fun technique, and we'll do that tonight. So the first thing, and you don't need to be exact again, but I'm just going to sketch a mountain that I'm familiar with, which is Mont Blanc. So in this demonstration I'm just going to be using a mix of light red and Winsor blue red shade. So that's a nice dark strong grey that I'm going to be using. So all we've done is we've just done this sketch here of the outline of Mont Blanc. It's very simple, and then all we're going to do is just turn this around so it's upside down, and then we're just going to tilt it this way. I'll get the bowl down here so it's ready to access for me, and then all I'm going to do is just start to paint in. So I'll wet my hake brush because it was dry. So I'm just going to wet the hake brush, and I could just bring in water first if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to load up that hake brush with a good amount of pigment, and then I'm just going to come in with the outline of that mountain. And of course you could try and be really exact, but you don't really have to be. Just bring that in, a bit more pigment, and then we can just make sure that that is not drying on the edges, and then we get the spray bottle. And tilt that up. Get a tissue, catch that moving water, clean up around the sides a bit. And if I wanted to have a bit more of a soft edge here, then I could spray that away and spray that away there. And if I wanted a bit more light just coming across here, I could just spray that out like that. There we go. Doesn't have to be exact. Again, I've still got the page tilted. I'm just mopping up here. I've still got the page tilted at 45 because there's a lot of water still there. So you want to keep it up while the water keeps running down. And I don't know if you can see, but there's some hairs on there and I want to get rid of those. So I just pick them out with my tweezers. I'll keep it like this, okay, and then I'm just going to dry it quickly. You don't have to tune into all of that, but I'll just dry it quickly, okay. While it's still tilted like this, I'm going to dry it rather than lay it down flat. And I've dried it a bit, but there's still some water pooling at the bottom, so I'm just going to pick that up at the bottom. Keep drying. So I've dried that completely, so it's completely flat now, and I could have put a moon, if it was a moonlit night up on Mont Blanc, I could have put a moon there. And if you want to watch a video on how to do that, then just refer to the video up in the top at the moment and click on that. So really the last thing for us to do, this is a very simple painting, but it's pretty powerful because of the contrast between light and dark, and you have to make sure that the mix of your painting is pretty strong. So the last thing to do now is to just give a little bit of form to this mountain. And of course, if you've got a photograph to work from, then it's much easier. And then you can have a look and see from actual real life where that is. But I'm just going to, I'm just taking some of the pigment out of this brush by using my spray bottle so that I'm left with a much lighter wash. And the other thing I could do is I could just use a little bit of cerulean blue if I wanted to make it a little bit more like the colour of the ice. But just for now, to just keep this exercise very simple, we're just making it a monochromatic exercise. So I'm just using at the moment, I'm just using my desk as a palette. Right, excellent. It's always worth remembering as well is that watercolour will always dry a bit lighter than when you put it on the page. So all I'm going to do is just to think a little bit about making some marks on the page of where, you know, I can obviously see there's some light here, so the light will be hitting some tops here, around here, and this might be a little bit darker here, a little bit darker here, and maybe a little bit darker down here if that was coming from behind, so maybe a little bit there. And we'll just see how that goes. We'll try not to be too exact, okay? We'll try and just, again, I think that my mix is, I want my mix to be really pretty light. I'm just going to put a little bit of a shadow in here, and then we might just bring in a bit of shadow down here. And we're going to try and not be too exact, okay? So that'll do. Beautiful. If I wanted to add a little bit of interesting movement to that, then I could just wash that out a little bit there if I wanted to with the spray bottle. And if I wanted to just fix this up a bit, then I could, but I'm going to leave it completely alone. So I'll just dry that, and that will be the end of this painting that took almost no time at all, but is extremely powerful. I like that there's some soft edges here. I like that this is a subject, there's some light coming out here. There's a little bit of shadow to give that mountain some form. And if I wanted to, I could use a brush to take out some lights here to represent some mountains up behind in the distance, a little bit through the sky at night time, because often when you're climbing these mountains it's dark, you leave at 2 AM and when you're heading off. So I'll just do that really quickly, may or may not work. I'm not really trying to be too exact here. I'm not using a pencil sketch, so I can just imagine some of those peaks, and some of those peaks around there are extremely sharp and jaggedy around Mont Blanc, actually, some of them. And what I can do here is I can just lift out some lights with a tissue. Of some of those off in the distance. And if I wanted to, I could just if I wanted to do some more exact detail in there, the best thing to do once you've done a little bit of this is to dry it. And then I could start to bring in some shadows in there. That'll do for now. Right, I'll just dry that and we'll see what it looks like right at the end. So of course, very last thing to do is to sign it, and with this style of painting I sign this in a different way to my normal signature. This is my wife's from when she lived in Japan, and that was her bank stamp that she used to use when she was there, and that's my way of saying thank you to her for always supporting me in an amazing way. So that is all signed, and so if you weren't quite sure about the hake brush that I was using or the round sable that I used, then by all means have a look at the card that's just come up now about brushes. If you want to know some more about paper, then have a look at some of my other videos. So thanks for joining me tonight in this really simple but really powerful way of using watercolour and a spray bottle. If you want to know any details, it's in the description below, and of course if you would like to know about future videos that I post, then press the subscribe button, press the bell button, and you'll hear about every video that I post every week. The next video I'm going to be doing next week is about how to paint a waterfall using watercolour, and that's a beautiful technique. So I look forward to seeing you then, and thanks for joining me, and thanks to all my subscribers. I really appreciate it. Good night.